There are a couple of things I want to share that are especially relevant for Neptune's move into Aries on January 26, 2026. Aries is the sign of action. We're moving from Piscean dreaming to Aries action. Sometimes that action will come before deliberation. Aries doesn't ask permission, it just jumps. Then you adapt. Aries says, act now, refine later. Yeah, you heard that right. Act now, refine later. And the second thing about Aries is that it's the sign of spring. Spring means buds bursting and breaking out of winter's hold. While it's beautiful, it's tender and it's light. It's also a risk. Aries takes risks. It requires audacity to take risks. And we can only do that with some level of lightheartedness. And that ties into action, because how many of us would take a chance on anything new without a combination of boldness and lighthearted innocence? Aries carries both of them. Now, Neptune is imaginative. It contains infinite possibility, infinite holding, infinite compassion. But its vastness can be overwhelming, weighty. In Pisces, it heightened our sensitivities, dissolved our boundaries, and made us tender. In Aries, it dries out a little. It sheds some of that engulfing heaviness and becomes more buoyant and playful. In Aries, Neptune dares, it pioneers, it takes on challenges in pursuit of passions. It fights for love, for what matters, always playfully, without taking itself too seriously. The last time Neptune moved through Aries, Lewis Carroll gave us a perfect image for this process, both audacious and silly. And through the looking glass, Alice tells the White Queen, "There's no use trying. One can't believe impossible things." And the Queen replies, "I dare say you haven't had much practice. When I was your age, I did it for half hour a day. Why, sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. Think of it now. What are 6 impossible things? How about just 2? 2 impossible things you would like to see in your life that seem absolutely ludicrous, crazy, beyond the scope of your imagination right now." Neptune is not asking what's feasible. It's asking what enlivens you. Before budgets or logistics or timelines, ask yourself, if I were to dream an impossible dream, if I were to allow myself to imagine what I really want, regardless of whether I can get it, without judgment, without limitation, what kind of life do I dream of? What kind of life do I want now? Aries is the first bud of spring, the first spark of what could be a blaze. But that tiny spark won't survive interrogation. It's too early. Neptune in Aries invites something radical. It invites us to dream audaciously, to nurture the spark of that dream, and to refine it later. The first weeks of Neptune in Aries are a protected window for birthing new dreams, for imagining the shape of a life that excites you, that puts a smile on your face, that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning. For many of us, this is surprisingly difficult. We submit new ideas to others' opinions too early, before they've had a chance to live. I learned this the hard way. Years ago, I used to share my tender new ideas with a very dear friend. He immediately pointed out what could go wrong, the cost, the obstacles, the reasons it might fail. He meant well. He loved me. He was trying to protect me. But what it did was extinguish the spark before it had a chance to grow. So now I named the phases. Stage 0 and stage 1 are for imagination and play. Lighthearted, easy, silly even. No feasibility questions or timelines allowed. Stage 2 and beyond came later. Oh, and by the way, play is not optional here. It's essential. Lightheartedness is what lets a dream stay alive without getting crushed. I'm still kind of learning this one myself. Recently, I've been practicing this more deliberately with a friend. For a few minutes each night, we say our dreams out loud to each other. We imagine them boldly, without judgment, without editing. At first, they were small, manageable. But as we practiced, we became more audacious. One night, she said something that stopped me cold. It wasn't logical. It wasn't tidy. It was way out there. And that was the point. It cracked something open. It gave us permission to imagine beyond what's socially sanctioned. Some dreams faded, others transformed, and new ones show up now and again, always widening our comfort zone of possibility. What surprised me most was that action began happening without force. I found myself sending an email, starting a conversation, taking a small step, almost effortlessly. Not because I decided it was time, but because something in me was already oriented toward it. I had pointed my ship in the direction of my dreams. That's what I mean by act now, refine later. Action that emerges because the ground has been prepped, not because of any grasping or pushing or pulling. Neptune in Aries isn't about convincing anyone else. It's about listening to yourself. What part of you has been waiting for permission to want what you really want in your innermost heart? That part doesn't need a plan yet. It needs space. And it's never too late. Give it 5 minutes a day, in the shower, in the car, before going to bed. Ask one simple question. What do I want my life to really look like? What dream do I want to manifest now? Don't judge the answer. Don't optimize it. Just notice the energy. What excites you? What brings a smile? When you're imagining, try this. See yourself doing it. Where are you? How do you speak? How do you hold yourself? And what does life look like as you live in the reality of your dreams? You don't have to share these dreams with anyone yet. Some people will try to protect you from disappointment. They mean well. But a life built entirely around avoiding disappointment can become a very small life. Neptune in Aries is not asking, what are you willing to die for? It's asking, what are you willing to live for? What would you give the hours, the days, the years of your life to creating? What kind of life would make the effort worth it? Soon enough, Saturn will arrive on February 13th. Saturn won't talk you out of your dreams. It will ask you to cut them into reality, to perspire for them, to put in the work required to make them real. Neptune can stay abstract forever. Aries can't. Aries asks, what does this actually look like? Not smaller, just clearer, more specific, big, bold, and lighthearted. If you skip this dreaming phase, you don't get clarity later. You get compromise. So begin here. Widen the path. Imagine the impossible. Follow your excitement. Let the dream become clear enough to inhabit. Aries reminds us to act now and refine later. And trust that when it's time to build, you'll know exactly what's worth the effort.